So on Christmas Day, I was watching the NBA, and I saw this Air Jordan commercial with a young Michael Jordan because he had hair. It's like, oh, what is this? So the voice says, he said in 1984, the Air Jordan was banned from the game. I was like, what is this commercial? And then they remixed it. Because they took the original commercial and they remixed it for 2024 because it's the 40th anniversary of the Air Jordan 1 banned sneaker. And it's like, oh, this is amazing. So I went back to watch the original commercial because I forgot all about it. The original commercial is amazing because it's truly 1984. You feel like you're about to watch like a trailer for RoboCop or Terminator or the first Apple computer because you had that rich voice in 1984. The Air Jordan was banned from the game. It's like, I missed that type of voiceover. The tension, right? Oh, I missed that so much. But yeah, man, I don't think young folks really understand that Michael Jordan was really a rebel when he first came into the league. I think if you're a fan of LeBron James, you really don't know much. You've seen Michael Jordan in clips. The Jordan that you might have seen Michael Jordan, and the version of Michael Jordan you've seen live was probably maybe the Washington Wizards version of Jordan, which was really not really that bad, but he was an older version, so you didn't get the Chicago Bulls version of Jordan. So I understand. So when I hear young folks say like, "Oh, LeBron James is the greatest player ever," I say, okay, if you grew up just watching LeBron, I totally understand it. Because that's like me back in 1984. You're trying to tell me that George Mikan, and George Mikan was the first great center for the Los Angeles Lakers back in the 50s, I think. That's like me being a kid in 1984, and you're telling me, oh no, George Mikan was great. It's like, not better than Michael Jordan. I was full team Jordan. I'm still team Jordan. Love LeBron. LeBron's from Akron, but no, I'm a Mike guy. But yeah, so they take this commercial from the 80s and they remixed it because it's 40th anniversary of Air Jordan banned sneaker. And yeah, I think even people forgot or don't know that when Jordan first came to the league, he was not really that beloved. First of all, he was the second pick of the draft. Sam Bowie goes to number 1. He was drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers. Clyde Drexler is already there. And people say, well, the Blazers should have drafted Jordan and have Clyde. They would have been a two-headed monster. That wouldn't have worked back then because their skill set was very similar. So it wouldn't make any sense for Clyde and Michael to be together. So I don't fault Portland for drafting Sam Bowie. No one knew Sam Bowie would be injury prone and just become a flop. Shout out to Sam Bowie. So Jordan goes to the Bulls. Horrible team. The only other scorer they had was, I think, Orlando Woolridge. Stan Albeck was a coach before Doug Collins, and then Doug Collins gets there and it changes. Then we get Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen, all that stuff happened. So so eventually they won, but Michael went to a bad team. But then there was this myth thing about Jordan back in the day. The myth of you hear about him scoring like 50 points, 60 points, 45 points, and Michael, he was a bit like LeBron. Michael was a 6'6" skinny guard from North Carolina, the great North Carolina, Dean Smith. And we played with James Worthy and Sam Perkins. But Michael wasn't a big guy. LeBron coming into the league, he's coming out of high school. He played football at Bucknell High School. So LeBron was a slightly thicker dude, even though he was a skinnier. He was skinny, but he was at least he had some mass on him. Michael had no mass, but he was just killing the game. And there was no house of highlights. There was no, I could go on social media or YouTube to watch what Jordan did. Most people didn't have ESPN back then because I think ESPN was just starting. Most people didn't have ESPN back then, but you would hear these stories. You read in the paper, oh my God, Michael Jordan scored 50 points. Oh my God, Michael scored this. He had this great dunk, man. He jumped over 5 people. He was like Bigfoot, right? So that's where the myth thing of Jordan comes, right? But the crazy thing about Jordan is he was really a rebel. Like the league sneaker was either Converse or Adidas. I think it was Converse. And Michael had to sign this deal with Nike, and he was wearing the Air Jordan 1s, right? And the league fined him. So I got to look back and watch the old interviews because I don't know if Michael paid those fines because he kept on wearing the sneakers. So I don't know if Michael paid those fines or Nike paid those fines. Most likely Nike paid those fines. But it's great advertising because it's like, oh, anything that's banned is great advertising for kids. Because then you say, that's where the initial thing was, anticipation was, oh, I have to get those sneakers because they were, quote, the banned sneakers. So it was great marketing, right? But then David Stern, after a while, realized, oh, well, they're making a lot of money with those sneakers. Maybe the NBA needs to work with these guys. And when you tune into any NBA game today, everybody's wearing different sneakers. You could be wearing Adidas, you could be wearing Nike, you could be wearing New Balance. It doesn't matter because I think the NBA probably gets a cut from them sneakers or something. But yeah, the reason everybody can wear different sneakers is because Michael Jordan said, like, no, like, these are my shoes. I love these shoes. I'm with Nike. So, Mike, I just don't think people understand. Like, he wasn't this people. When people see Jordan now, they see the suited Jordan, and they feel like, oh, well, he was always loved by everybody. No, he wasn't, man. He really broke the rules. He used to wear a gold chain. Like, when he used to play basketball, he used to wear gold chains. The NBA didn't like him wearing gold chains. And then you get to the players. Like, Isaiah Thomas swears that they did not freeze out Michael Jordan when he went to this first All-Star game. Because I don't know, because Michael Jordan didn't score that many points, if at all. Isaiah Thomas swears that he did not freeze him out. I think Isaiah told dudes, let's freeze his rookie out because he think he's special. I think Isaiah did that. I think he did, even though Isaiah says, no, I didn't. No, we didn't freeze him out. It's basketball, man. We're just playing. I think Isaiah's lying. I think they did squeeze Mike out because Mike was a threat. Because you had Magic Bird, you still had Dr. J, and here comes this young guy out of nowhere and just tearing up the league. So yeah, Mike was a major threat. And then Mike brings in the baggy shorts. Everybody's still wearing the short shorts back then. They still wore those short shorts for a while. Mike, he said, I want baggy shorts. The reason we see baggy shorts today because of Mike. And then we got the media. The media did not love Michael Jordan. They all pretend today that they love Michael Jordan. They didn't love Michael Jordan back then. They said Michael Jordan, because he scored so many points, that he was a ball hawk. That he wasn't a team player, which is crazy because Dean Smith was all about team ball back then with North Carolina. But yeah, they say he scored too many points. He was a ball hawk. He doesn't know how to make his teammates better. Now, to be fair, Mike didn't have a lot of great players around him. But once we get to the Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, that's where things started to turn around for the Bulls, when he started adding better players around Mike. But let's not pretend that Scottie Pippen was on the same level of Michael Jordan at that time, because he wasn't. Scottie Pippen was a raw guard out, I think, a raw point forward out of Central Arkansas. But he grew into that because of Mike. Like, Mike made him a better player. So yeah, Mike needed Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and those guys to win. But let's not pretend that Scottie Pippen just came to the league how Mike was, and Scottie Pippen was just turning up the league, because he wasn't. But yeah, the media was just all over Mike. They said, oh no, he can never win. He can't get past the Pistons. He can never win. And then he won. That's why Mike, that's why he says, when you watch old interviews, he say you guys and all that stuff, because the media was they didn't like Michael Jordan. Even when he went to play baseball, they had that Sports Illustrated where they said back at Mike because they showed him striking out. He's like, I'm not talking to them anymore. So I don't fault athletes sometimes when they don't talk to the press. The press is almost like, well, what did we do? You guys do a lot. You just don't apologize for it. And then we get to the workout thing. The Pistons was just killing Michael Jordan because, again, he was a skinny 6'6" guard, and it was killing him. And then he started working out because he had to battle against the Pistons. He had to make himself bigger. Dudes weren't really working out back then. Dudes back then in any sport, they drank beer and they smoked. Training camp was when you got back into shape. They screwed, they smoked, they drank. Training camp is when you got your body together. But Mike's like, no, man, I'm tired of getting beaten up by the Pistons, because he would go inside and they would just knock him down like crazy. He had to get stronger. So when you hear about LeBron, he's saying, like, LeBron saying, I spent $1 billion a year on my body so I can play in the league. This is where all this comes from. Michael Jordan got with Tim Grover, and they created a system, and they had the breakfast club in the morning where other players started working out. And now all these guys work. They all have their own workout machine. You got guys boxing. You got guys doing karate. You got guys doing work in the pool. And then you got LeBron, where he got his whole situation where he got a hyperbaric chamber. Shout out to Michael Jackson with his first hyperbaric chamber. They called him Wacko Jacko, when that chamber was keeping his like dead tissues and make it help strengthen his muscles. Shout out to Michael Jackson. But shout out to Michael Jordan, Rebel. Tell me who is your favorite basketball player of all time, and who is your top 5? I still got Michael Jordan. You might have LeBron. You might have somebody else. Hell, you might have George Mikan. Shout out to MJ, man.